At the top of season 3, there are the monsters running around, and Penguin is an expert manipulator of people both intellectually and emotionally. And so he sees this as an in. It's something that gives him a focus. He's, at the end of season 2, after the loss of his parents, he has sort of lost himself. Like, his personality is borderline. We got to see him when he was brainwashed and he was this kind, loving person, and then of course, that's ripped away from him and he becomes, even more unhinged than he'd ever been before. When we start season 3, it's like he's sort of lost. But these monsters being in the city, they give him a focus, and also the fact that they're being led by Fish Mooney. That's another thing. But again, being a master manipulator, he's able to rally, people support around him by saying, we have to unite against these monsters, and I will lead the charge. Like, he puts himself front and center. He's going to make a play for power this season that's going to touch the lives of every single person who lives in Gotham City. But then, of course, we have the introduction of the character of the Mad Hatter, who is going to become a pivotal villain in our show. He has the ability to manipulate people with his mind and emotionally manipulate them as well. And, and that's a lot of where the madness is coming from. We have the character of the Riddler, who's had a very slow progression into becoming the Riddler. The Riddler has been there, but we really haven't seen him go full into the madness of the Riddler. This season, we're going to see a lot more of that. So it's, there's a lot of emotional and intellectual and just sanities are being played with and dismantled in a lot of ways this year, which is really terrifying and exciting at the same time. In terms of the Penguin specifically, we're very fortunate in that we have 77 years of mythology to look back upon and draw upon and do research with. And that's what I did when I got the role of the Penguin. And that's when I learned that, he was bullied as a child, that he'd always been treated as an outsider. That was sort of my human link to the character. I read that and I learned that, and I was like, this is something that I want to pull out and show and sort of root him down to reality. Growing up, overweight and gay in a small town Iowa when I was a kid, in the 80s and 90s, that's it was much different than it is now, and I know exactly what that feels like. And again, that was my connection to the character in a real way. I think we're all doing, especially in this show, is really trying to find the humanity and the pathos of these characters that hasn't been seen before. Going forward into season 3, the writers have learned and seen, after the 2 previous seasons, the way the characters come in and out of each other's lives, and who's to say there can't be an alliance between, Penguin and Alfred someday? You never know. This is what we as actors are super excited about, and also the fans are as well, and we know that works. So there's just going to be much more intertwining of lives, alliances broken, alliances forged, and I think, going forward, it's the thing I'm most excited about, selfishly, because I get to work with these amazing people that I can now call my friends.